We are now 7 days through G1 Climax 30 on the journey to find who will be the one. And boy, has everything changed today when it comes to who you think might win the A block. Hello, everybody. Konnichiwa. Good evening, good afternoon, good night to you all. My name is Noah Foster, and welcome once again to another Simple Take / preview and review of G1 Climax 30. In today's video, we'll be, of course, discussing what happened today in Korakuen Hall during Night 7 of G1 Climax 30 action for A Bloku, as well as previewing tomorrow's actions that will be emanating from Nagata for B Bloku. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So, of course, we start off with an unofficial Young Lions run as Yoda Tsuji, Uyemura, and Gabo Kid. They do get out to see who can get the most singles victories among this entire G1 tour. Today, it was an all NJPW dojo affair as Yoda Tsuji took on Uyemura. Again, pretty short bout. It surprised me that none of these got into a draw. Both men showed strong offense here. But in the end, that Boston Crab gave Yoda Tsuji the quick win within 8 minutes. Uyemura, he did fight a little bit forward in the ropes, try to lift his body up, but in the end, Yoda Tsuji, he forced his body down and was literally bending him backwards into a C. And Uyemura had no choice but to tap out. So Yoda Tsuji now takes the lead, 3-2. And we wonder how Gabriel Kidd fought about this as he looked down from ringside. We got that subtle confrontation, not face to face, but you know that Yoda Tsuji and Gabriel Kidd, they saw each other, they were thinking about it. I don't know whether or not that's the next match, we'll find out soon. Tough break for Uyemura, but still anybody's race at this point. We'll have to wait and see what happens next. Which leads us immediately into our G1 action tonight. That was the A block, and it started with Minoru Suzuki unleashing hell, Kasa Ninare against Tokyo Pimp, Yujiro Takahashi. A pretty simple match. I mean, Yujiro, he tried to really get the best of the King, but in the end, he just pissed off the King to the point that the King was literally bashing the barricade with a chair. Probably wanted to bash Yujiro's brains out with the chair. And at one point, Yujiro, he did took him to the floor, got some fish offense in, including a PK. But in the end, after a subtle exchange, Yujiro got knocked out, but he did deliver a Fisherman Buster. However, history was not broken here. This was no shocker. An attempt for Pimp Juice after Suzuki escaped Miami Shine, and he tried basically to go for the sleeper the first time and go for the gotch. Didn't work the first time. Second time, though, sleeper immediately into the gotch style pile driver. Comfortable, simple win for the King, Minoru Suzuki. Casa Ninare. He now moves up to, if I can get the freaking thing over here, he now moves up to 6 points and is a block leader, tied with current block leaders, Jay White and Taiji. I'm not sure what victory Yujiro can pull off during this, but I don't see the man going to just a straight goose egg the entire thing. I'm optimistic he can at least get one more win. But again, this was a vicious, but at least quick affair between Yujiro and Minoru Suzuki. And again, Minoru says he will win the G1. So, again, it's hard to argue with the King, and there's still plenty of other matches that confront his past, so we will find out soon enough. Following this, we move into a first-time NJPW singles affair as Jeff Cobb took on Golden Star Kota Ibushi. And this match right here was more so Jeff Cobb showing his incredible strength and grappling capability. Because honestly, it was 95% Jeff Cobb during this, with a fury of grappling-based offense, including those gut wrench suplex followed by the moonsault. I basically knew this match was going to come down to a grapple game or a striking game. Kota Ibushi did get a couple of kicks, but again, very confident was Jeff Cobb during this match, even after a mid-kick and standing moonsault combination. But Cobb, of course, with huge drop kick for a big man, which is absolutely ridiculous. And then Kota Ibushi, he tries to take down the man, channeling the most vicious lariat he could, but no effect. And at one point, as we move closer to this match, and he did pull off a Frickensteiner. But then Jeff Cobb, he basically grabs Kota Ibushi at one point and literally delivers what I thought was F5 based on the torque of the spin. Might have been an F10, just spuns out the man and froze him. That was freaking ridiculous. And then following that, Cobb, he basically was setting up for his big finisher. Apparently they called the F5000 that was. And you know what? That makes sense because it was a near victory for Jeff Cobb here. But I clearly saw Ibushi winning here. Ibushi, he seemed very driven. He seemed much more confident. And all it takes is 2 moves. And in the end, he got both moves. Rocked him with a knee, basically a Boombaye. And then the Kamagoye for the win. 1, 2, 3. In a very competitive bout that was more so about Kota Ibushi surviving Jeff Cobb's overall strength, as Jeff Cobb was definitely the stronger adversary here. And his grappling game made him even more elusive for Ibushi to get the better of. But good win for Ibushi, and a great showing by Cobb. I feel like both men were very strong in this match. But Cobb stays at 2 now, while Kota Ibushi, he is now also tied as block leaders with 6 points. And we wonder what's next for both these men. Can Jeff Cobb really bounce back? Can he get more than 2 points? We'll have to wait and see. Following this, we go into a rematch from the New Beginning, and these two are no strangers to each other, as Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, he took on the Holy Emperor, Taiji. What's interesting also is you had, I almost forgot, El Desperado with the Japanese commentary, and excuse me, watch. Calamaro, I think, with like the international commentary team. And basically, as Taiji literally serenaded Kalamaru during his entrance, Calamaro, just as always, he remains stone faced. But what'd you expect? Anyway, as this match began with Okada and Taiji, it was a bit of a filling out process, but basically, immediately, Taiji gets on the offense. And also, Okada had a target, his lower back, covered in tape, which they definitely exploited. By they, I mean, of course you knew that Calamaro and or El Desperado were going to get involved in this. At one point, I think the two were literally commentating with each other. Basically, according to Chris Charlton's translations, aren't you planning anything? Nobody says nothing at all. Desperado with the samurai. He said he isn't going to do anything either. He's standing up with the chair. Yes, get him Despy. So there you go. Suzuki-gun, folks, they always fight any means to win. Anyway, after dominating the first 5 minutes, it seems, of this match, Okada finally gets the better of him with some boots out of the corner, forearm back elbow strike, and then a drop kick off the top turnbuckle, which sent Taiji into the next time zone, followed by a DDT. There were plenty of DDTs throughout this night. But again, all these power moves, they landed Okada on his back. So he was really struggling. He was much slower in this match as well. And basically, after another big missile dropkick attempt, ouch, crash and burn, Taiji was out of the way, and basically momentum once again shifted back into the Holy Emperor's favor. And Taiji knew he was in control at this point. As the match continued, though, you wonder what Okada needs to do to really show us how much he wants to win this and really show us that Okada that we all know as that grand performer. And I'll admit, he finally did show that a little bit until he got Kawada kicked into next week. Those kicks by Taiji, my God. Tilt the world into a single crab. Then we get a jumping high kick, and basically, this is when the dropkick was denied. And also, wait for it. The pants come off, and this is when you know the match goes into that next level. Following this, that dangerous backdrop was finally hit, followed by a follow-up pile driver, though, by Okada into his Cobra Clutch submission, the money clip. And literally, Taiji kept fighting and fighting out of this submission hold. Okada could not hold him into it. After a backslide into a near fall, there was a ridiculous short arm lariato by Okada, not the Rainmaker, but he did hold the wrist. He had wrist control. He was probably thinking, as it seemed like he was slowly summoning the storm to pick up Taiji. And I wonder, is this the moment? Was this the opponent? Was this the time Okada finally brings back and uses the Rainmaker? No, not quite, because after a referee distraction, Taiji gets the better of Okada with a low blow into the ghetto clutch, literally nearly winning this match the same way he won his previous encounter with Yujiro. And following that, jumping high kick in the corner, and the match is in Taiji's control, with another short arm lariato. And then he finally goes for his finisher, Black Mephisto, but Okada counters that into the money clip. And then again, Taiji finds a way out of that. But once again, Okada puts him in the money clip this time. And as Taiji, once again for the third time, it seems, about to break it, Okada pulls off, at the risk of his own back again, a backbreaker on Taiji. And Taiji's body gives out on him. He doesn't tap out, but by ref stoppage, after Taiji's body seems to have gave out, Okada wins. So this was a really interesting match for 2 reasons. One, if Okada lost here, you might as well have come out of the G1. 2, I was wondering, was this the opponent? Was this the time that he's going to finally bring back the Rainmaker? This close, folks. I think we're about to get it. And 3, in the end, Taiji, he did not submit. His body gave out. So he honestly can hold that over Okada. Because right now it seems like Okada's money clip is not as effective as he thought it would be. And right now, Taiji, he stays at 6 points, still a tie with the other block leaders, while Okada, he moves up to 4. So don't count Okada out of this yet. But again, I'm still sticking with my overall pick, Taiji to win the block. I really enjoyed this match. Following this, we go into a rematch from last year's anniversary show as Switchblade Jay White and his unstoppable J1, leader with 6 points, he takes on aerial assassin Will Ospreay, who right now is at 4 points after losing to Shingo in his last match. And this match was everything you would expect from Jay White and Will Ospreay. But what's different here is Jay White got a dose of what Will Ospreay brings now as a heavyweight after the two literally were chopping each other, and Will Ospreay chopped Jay White into the next time zone. There were multiple times though where the match was in Will Ospreay's favor, but Gato, ever being the strategist, ever being the distraction, he played on the outside to put the match into Switchblade's favor. And there were multiple times where Jay White capitalized off this. The Pip Pip Cheerio was basically a follow-up to put the match into Will Ospreay's favor again, but White was able to connect with a DDT, cut off the Assassin's momentum again. Again, DDT, folks, the freaking formula of the night. And then, of course, calling for Kiwi, Kiwi, Kiwi. Ospreay, of course, he wiggles free before that happens, and then pulls off a springboard dropkick. Then Gato basically pulls Jay White free from the Tree of Woe when they were up in the corner, and stopping Ospreay from going coast to coast. But still, Gato and White, they both delivered a Sasuke special. And then there was a springboard 450 by Ospreay for the near fall on Jay White. As the match continued, Ospreay goes for the Os Cutter, but nope, doesn't work. Knee buckles, and that leads to a ridiculous Uranagi by Jay White. And both men are down, and we're halfway through this match at this point. Finally, he pulls out the Kiwi Crusher, not enough, and then Ospreay, he basically comes back into play with a Liger Bomb followed by the Os Cutter, but only gets a 2 count. So there's one weapon left that he hasn't used. Well, 2, technically, if you think about what he uses to set up for it. And that's Hidden Blade and the Stormbreaker. And you wonder if that's what he was going to go for. But for now, there were some hard forearm shots to the rear of the head. And then a Stormbreaker attempt, which is a Hidden Blade, folks, by the way, before that. But Gato, again, he interferes, but basically tries to knock out Will Ospreay with the brass knuckles, ends up getting knocked out himself by Will Ospreay. Finally, the Hidden Blade, it hits his mark, and the Stormbreaker gives Will Ospreay the win. 1, 2, 3. And now he is tied with everybody else at 6 points, and Jay White's J1 is over, but the G1 is still continuing for him. We have multiple leaders now all tied with 6 points. It is practically half this block's game. Very competitive back and forth match. And you wonder if all the distraction play by Gato might have cost Jay White. Might they have overexploited that and relied on that? But again, in the end, Will Ospreay, he seems to be a wrestler on a whole different level. He's been in the ring once before with Jay White. He has definitely learned since that last encounter. And he got the win, so kudos to him. Really good match. Which leads us into our main event wars, I like to call it, and the number one match I was looking forward to, and a rematch from pre-COVID New Japan Road for the never openweight title, where Shingo won. It was, of course, the Rampage Dragon, Shingo Takagi, taking on the Stone Pit Bull, Tomohiro Ishii. And these two just unleashed hell and a war with each other. So, as Karl Slowly put, Taiji and Ishii next. Taiji will have something for him. Well, that's the next match following that. Basically, this was everything I expected and more. Nothing but strikes. No submissions, no grappling game. Just literally trying to knock the hell out of your opponent. Literally, we have a subtle chop fest to begin off, a subtle filling out process, and then both men exchanging kicks with one another, really testing each other's spines. Then we have a Lariato to Shingo on the outside of the ring. Then Ishii with the chops and forearms combination in the corner. But then, of course, one of my favorite things Shingo does, I call the Shingo combo. There's that elbow strike, that jab, that short arm lariat, drops Ishii where he stands. Following that, there was a ridiculous backdrapu, and then Shingo gets throat chopped after basically inciting the rage of the Stone Pit Bull. This is when you know you pissed Tomohiro Ishii off. And then, interesting enough, this is the first time I think I've seen this used against him, as Shingo follows up with his own throat chops to Tomohiro Ishii, and then pulls off a Noshigami on him. Following this, there was a unique wheelbarrow suplex power maneuver by Shingo Takagi, and then we have our sliding lariat, but not enough. And then both men are literally lariating each other back and forth. You could hear the impact off of the skin and the sweat flying. And then they both finally hit each other so hard, they collide and collapse. We're finally slowing down this match for a moment. Good God. Following this, we get top rope brain buster by Tomohiro Ishii, followed up with the DDT, not enough. But then Shingo Takagi, he sets up, suspends Tomohiro Ishii, pulls off Made in Japan, not enough for the win, but immediately follows up with a pumping bomber. And then we get some backdrops by both men. These men are not human. A subtle exchange, I guess you could say, with Ishii and Shingo literally testing each other's jaws with forearm shivers, until Ishii literally knocks Shingo down and out. Then we get a last ride power bomb, stacks him up, not quite enough. And Shingo answers back with a Death-Valley driver out of nowhere, followed by a ridiculous Lariato out of nowhere, but a kick out at 1. What? He kicked out at 1. Just saying. And by the way, I'm talking about, of course, Shingo. But following this, we get the sliding lariat by Ishii. It hits, and then a sliding lariat to the back of the head, though, by Shingo as a follow-up. Ouch. Again, attacking somebody from the back is extremely dangerous because they have no idea that it's coming, and that could cause serious damage. Both of these men are down once again, and then literally they are challenging each other in a war of headbutts. But thankfully, neither man cracked each other as hard as Katsuyori Shibata did with his head with Okada back at Sakura Genesis 2017. But still, this was ridiculous. I'm pretty sure the Stone Pit Bull has a dent in his forehead. They're not human. That's all I gotta say. Anyway, following this, GTR finally done in the ropes by Shingo, and then another pumping bomber, and then a DDT follow-up. And then Ishii follows up with a DDT. The two exchange again, trying to basically get the better of each other as Ishii blocks the Lariato. There's an Insiguri by Ishii, followed up by a Lariat that turns Shingo inside out into next week, and then finally sets him up for Ishii's finisher, the vertical drop brainbuster, emphatically hit in the middle of the ring, and Ishii is finally on the board with 2 points, pinning Shingo Takagi. 1, 2, 3. Good Lord Almighty, this match went over 25 minutes. I freaking loved it. I thought it was going to go to a draw. And what's ironic, of course, is after the match, both men are still subtly finding each other, and then they subtly headbutt each other. Now, was that just instinct? Do they both still want to just in that fighting stance? Is that a way to just form respect among the two? I have no idea what that meant, but I absolutely loved this war. Shingo Takagi, though, he stays at 2 points, while Tomohiro Ishii is finally on the board with 2 points, which I like to see. Which means right now, the only one with 0 is Yujiro Takahashi at this point. I say his G1's pretty much over. Everyone else still has some chance, but we have 5, count it folks, 5 block leaders in the A block. And honestly, it's anybody's game. Kota Ibushi, Jay White, Minoru Suzuki, and Taiji, and Will Ospreay. Now, of course, we look at the tiebreakers. We think about, okay, Will Ospreay, he still has Okada. Taiji, he still has Jay White. Minoru Suzuki, he still has Jay White. And also, Minoru Suzuki and Okada is still to come, too. And then Kota Ibushi, he also has Will Ospreay coming up, as well as Suzuki, Takagi, and Taiji. So this block can still go anybody's way as we think about who could really benefit from the tiebreakers. But again, we'll have to wait and see as this goes forward. An amazing day of action. A block, once again, they surpassed what I thought they couldn't do from their previous day. And also, I think between what I saw previously on B block versus this A block, I like more matches today on the A block versus the B block. But let's see what the B block brings tomorrow. But before that, allow me to subtly translate, because even though he didn't leave us out, in the middle of the ring with words, Ishii always is a man of few words. He speaks more by action, but he did give us some subtle backstage comments. 3 losses? Who cares? It's all about violence. Fight hard, you get results. You and I, we traded wins. That's it. This ain't about pecking order. I love that mentality. Ishii just wants to bring out the best in himself and expects everybody else to bring the best to him. Always a champion, even if without a title. Tomohiro Ishii for life. All right, so let's go ahead and look at tomorrow's action as we now move away from Corrigan Hall, which I might add is probably one of my favorite venues in professional wrestling of all time. As we move to Niigata, as we have B block action tomorrow morning at the same time, 2:30 p.m. 2:30 a.m. Pacific time, 5:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I believe it's 9:30 a.m. British Standard. Oh, 10:30 a.m. British Standard Time. As we head into October, so let's go ahead and look at that day's action. Of course, we start off with our Young Lions run, and this time it will be well, Yoda Tsuji versus Gabriel Kidd. So here's the thing. Will Yoda Tsuji go up 2 above his cohort, or can Gabriel Kidd bring this back into favor for him in LA Dojo and bring this up to 3 points? Overall singles record again is 4-1 in Tsuji's favor. But again, Kidd finally figured out a way to beat Yoda Tsuji. But now that Uya and Yoda know this double arm suplex that Kidd uses, Yuya was able to prevent Kidd from getting another win off him. Can Yoda do the same thing? I think he will personally. I think Yoda Tsuji is going to really go up in this thing, and it's going to be 4-2 to 2. I'm going with Yoda Tsuji for the win. Which leads us straight into B block action, as we have, oh for the love of God, we have Juice Robinson, who currently stands at 4 points, taking on block leader Toru Yano with 6. Now, here's the beautiful thing about this, though, thankfully. In overall singles record, it is 3-0 Juice Robinson, and every victory against Toru Yano has been in the last 3 consecutive G1s. So far, Juice Robinson seems to know the Toru Yano formula and how to break it, which is why I believe that Juice Robinson will finally save us from this madness and stop Toru Yano's momentum. I'm going to go with Juice Robinson finally slowing down Toru Yano and basically becoming a block leader at this point. Toru Yano must be stopped. Juice Robinson, please do it. That's all I have to say about that. Moving on from there, we go into a match. These two have some self-history with each other, but also they're pretty much dead even. It's Hiroki Goto with 2 points versus Zack Sabre Jr. also with 2 points. Their overall singles is 2-2, each one sharing a G1 Climax victory. It was back in 2018 where Zack Sabre Jr. beat Goto both in Japan and the UK, and 2017 where Goto was able to basically beat this guy in a pair of matches as well. So these two are kind of deadlock on each other, but I think about this. Goto has a target, that right shoulder. We know that's not 100%. And Zack Sabre Jr. tried to exploit that during his match with Kenta, and it almost caused Kenta. So I wonder this, does Zack Sabre Jr. exploit that so hard that Goto has no choice but to tap out? And does he make him tap out maybe verbally to Karki Cat? Or does Goto endure, because clearly he's going to be the stronger, bigger, more powerful adversary here, and does he knock out Zack Sabre Jr. with the freaking GTR? This is very interesting, and they both have currently faced Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion Tetsuya Naito in the opening stretch as well, and both men have fallen. So there's no tiebreaker there. So it's kind of like a reset for the two. So looking at this match and thinking about what's next for each, but also thinking about the state of each, I am going to say that Zack Sabre Jr. picks up the win here, and I think he's going to do it, of course, via submission. It's the perfect way to exploit Hiroki Goto's injury. I'm going with Zack Sabre Jr. Moving on from there, we go into a match of history as the ace of New Japan, Hiroshi Tanahashi, with 2 points, finally, takes on the headhunter, Yoshihashi, who also, finally, has 2 points. And so far, when it comes to their last singles encounter, including 2 previous G1 encounters, Tanahashi has had the headhunter's number. I keep saying it all the time. You never count the ace out. But Yoshihashi, he seems very determined, very driven. This has been a stronger year, it seems. The year of Yoshihashi achieving after 12 years gold versus the Ace, who's been kind of on the up and down, basically trying to surpass Kota at this point. It feels like Kota needs to surpass him. With Hiroshi Tanahashi just beating Juice Robinson, though, with a roll-up, countering a finisher. And, of course, Yoshihashi winning with Karma over Sanada. This match could go either way and could just come out of nowhere with a win. And both men, I'm sure, are in high spirits. But I'm going to go with... I got to go with the once-in-a-century wrestler. I'm going with the ace of New Japan, Hiroshi Tanahashi, for the win. So that's all I have to say about that. Moving on from there, it's an all Bullet Club encounter. And I'm sure many people have been looking forward to this. As Kenta, with 4 points, takes on Evil with 2 points. But these two have only met each other one at a time. Last year's G1, and Kenta won. However, this is a new Evil, this is a new Kenta. Both men have evolved and changed, and Evil has a spoiler in his corner. Whenever it comes to Bullet Club versus Bullet Club, it's always a unique encounter, okay? And this is the first time that Kenta basically has now seen this Bullet Club Evil face to face in the ring under the same building. I don't think Evil has any sort of, motives to challenge for the IWGP United States Championship if he beats Kenta. That being said, if Kenta beats Evil, that might say something about Evil in Bullet Club. Was it really the right decision? Did Gato pull off the right move? This right here is going to be a very interesting match, but I sense a couple of things. I sense quick striking onslaught by Evil pre-match. I sense him going after the arm of Kenta, who again, that is a target. And I sense Dick Togo is going to come into play here. And also, I sense that Evil is going to get his victory back over Kenta from last year, despite the different circumstances of both representing the same faction. I'm actually going with Evil for the win on this one. It just feels like right now that Evil kind of needs this win more than Kenta, and that's why more so I'm going with that. All right, this is it. This is do or die, in my opinion. This is the match I'm looking forward to the most tomorrow, and this is where we truly see where Sanada stands. This is double champion Tetsuya Naito taking on Sanada. Tetsuya Naito, block leader, 6 points. Sanada still with 0. The only other time these two have ever met one-on-one was a previous G1 2 years ago, and Naito did win. Now, I think about what I watched recently with the free match from Monday with Sanada and Kota Ibushi, and it talks about Sanada's like biggest role models, and there was like 4 of them. Of course, that was 1 year ago. Tetsuya Naito is not part of that list. I really wonder if Sanada respects Tetsuya Naito as a role model and as a leader at this point. I mean, truth be told, he's been extremely successful, but what has that done for Sanada lately? Where does Sanada stand mentally? What is Sanada's mindset going into this match? What does Tetsuya Naito expect from Sanada? Does Tetsuya Naito want Sanada to beat him? This right here is do or die. If Sanada doesn't win this, his G1 is over, period, in my opinion. And maybe he should go off to Excursion and refigure out himself. Tetsuya Naito, however, he is the double champion. Last year, Sanada pulled off the incredible upset. He beat Okada, which was the heavyweight champion, and stopped the incredible run. But that was towards the end, as this G1 is not even halfway over. So with that being said, can Sanada repeat history? Can he stop the champion's run of perfection? I'm really torn on this one for a number of reasons. One, this has been the year of Tetsuya Naito. But two, I want Sanada to really improve and really own what he's capable of. Because he's so talented and has so much potential. But again, he had the highs of highs last year and could not get the job done past G1. But this is a guy that he literally works with, is the leader of, and maybe that will go into his favor. Maybe he knows Naito better than ever now, and maybe that will play into his favor. Whether or not this is a match of the year candidate, whether or not this goes nearly to a draw like his match with Okada, whether or not this leads to Sanada versus Naito challenging each other for the double gold prior to Wrestle Kingdom, I have to go with Sanada winning this match. Or he might as well leave New Japan and go on Excursion, because at this point, if he loses here, he's done. He was my pick to win the block, and I look at his run, he's still 0. And I can't believe that. What does the man need to do? I feel like this right here is what he needs to do. Lights need to go out, say this place is cool, come out with the win, lead out the crowd. Somehow, someway, Sanada, I believe, will pull out the victory against Tetsuya Naito. Bold prediction, maybe? I don't know. But that's my thoughts on that. Sanada, good luck. That's all I have to say. And with that being said, that's all I have to say for now overall about the G1. So thank you so much for tuning in to this review, preview, coverage, as always, of G1 Climax 30, where we continue to see who will be the one. While the A block is much more open right now with 5 leaders, we only have 2 leaders right now at time of recording, Wednesday, September 30th, 12:57 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And come tomorrow, that all can change. I just hope 2 things happen. Yano loses, Sanada wins. If I get that, I'll be happy. That's all I have to say for now. Thank you for tuning in. You want to know more about me? Know this. I'm just a simple man and a lifelong fan of wrestling. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, PlayStation, and Foster1916. Keep following this little YouTube channel here at youtube.com/user/NoFoster210 for all things wrestling. Shout out to my HW family on Twitter. There's going to be continued coverage, of course, of G1. I have predictions coming up for NXT TakeOver 31, as well as another live simple chat this Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I just interact with you and answer your questions. There'll be a new episode of the NXT scene up this weekend, as well as special AEW Dynamite Anniversary Recap Edition of AEW Spark this weekend, and so much more as me and the Ohio boys, we start our podcast up again called The Sauce. A lot of content coming up to this channel, including gaming content too, while we're giving you my gameplay of Crash Bandicoot 4. Let's see how many times I lose a life. But until next time, you want to know more about this in the description down below. Support WrestleJoy, support NoDQ, support Team All Elite, support Independent Residents, that's the heart of it, folks. FTW, Greg Cherry Brand, Jeff Meacham Network, Bar Shirt. And as always, I'd like to close. Support your wrestling outlets, both big and small. Let's keep growing this incredible, diverse, unique, elite, authentic, unscripted, unrestricted wrestling community together. Simple as that. With that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. Hit the bell, know the next video goes on this channel. Hit the subscribe button, help me keep going on this channel. Shout out to all 63 of you that's been with me on this fun YouTuber's greatest journey. My 2-year anniversary as a YouTuber comes up next month. So stay tuned for a special anniversary simple stream, and we'll see what happens during that. But until the next video, I hope you all take care, enjoy life. Tomorrow's never guaranteed. Trust your families. Enjoy wrestling. Be safe. Be conscious of one another. Be positive. We'll all get through this together. Take care of your health. And I just hope you all have a wonderful day. Sayonara.